My next guest is Seth Denson, president and co-founder of GDP Advisors, a health insurance strategist who's becoming a popular media soundbite because he blends this metropolitan kind of thinking, with a, a straightforward West Texas style, I guess. Seth, welcome to the conversation.
Steve, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
So what is this smooth blend you have?
I hope you'll find out over the next couple of minutes here. I don't know. I like to say I just talk the way that my daddy talked to me when I was growing up. Try to use some common sense in this sometimes chaotic world of healthcare.
Yeah, good luck with the common sense out there in the world in general. I try that every day. Sometimes it fits, and sometimes people just are repulsed by it.
I hear you.
Tell me about there's a White House proposal moving through. They say they can reduce the cost of prescription drugs. Does it make sense to you? What are you seeing? What are you understanding? What do you believe?
Well, listen, I've read the report thoroughly a couple of times. There were a couple of things specifically about the report that were disappointing, but there were some highlights in there too. One of the things I was mostly disappointed about was that they put it out on a Friday, and as history would tell us, the White House tends to put things out on Friday that they really would rather fly under the radar, and unfortunately, I think that's one of the things about this white paper. I'm glad you picked it up, and a few others did as well. So, the report overall, it was a good report, and it was full of substantive information about what's wrong with the healthcare industry and prescription drugs in general. Unfortunately, it fell short by way of really proposing and providing solutions to solve them, which I think there are some out there that can be done. So I was really disappointed with what I did see in the report.
So you're not happy with it. All right. So how do we get prescription drug prices more in line with what people be happy with? First of all, people like it if it was all free. I hear that all the time. Apparently, everything's supposed to be free in America. You probably hear that a lot.
The one thing that I think that we could do overall as a society is really infuse transparency. And this is one thing, and I'm not big on government regulation and government involvement. However, when it comes to healthcare and specifically how the overall financial methodology works within the healthcare system, transparency is key. Healthcare is one of those things. It's a sixth of the economy, but it's one of those things that we as consumers go out and we buy and we spend money on, but we don't really know what we're spending money on until after we've already received the goods and services.
That's exactly right. In fact, I'm going to jump in here because I think truth in pricing is extremely important in healthcare. It is, as it is in everything else, and here's why. Went to the emergency room, I don't know, it's been 3 or 4 years ago. People have heard me tell this story before, but it's important to hear this if you haven't. I went in. It was an emergency room visit, and I looked at the bill that came later. We're only there for 5 or 6 hours, and the bill was $10,000. Now, in the end, my insurance paid, most of it, and I paid a little bit as a copay. But one of the things that stuck out to me was an MRI. And according to the list there, the MRI was worth $4,000. But if you had insurance, the MRI was then worth $600, and then you only had to pay $50 for the copay. So here's the deal. Either an MRI is $4,000, or it's $600, or it's something. It doesn't just vary all over the playing field. It costs what it costs. And we need to be honest about the cost of health care and prescription drugs and all of it. Do you agree?
I couldn't agree more. And that's the real thing. Health insurance today, it's just healthcare financing. That's all it is. And so while you had that $10,000 bill and your insurance company picked it up, guess what? You're paying for that over the long-term gain by way of health insurance premiums. They're getting that money back from you. And so all the health insurance market serves to do today is really serve as that financing mechanism to allow the health care markets and the delivery system to profit off of this out-of-control pricing methodology, which there's no measurable for. We see it all the time with our clients and what they're going through, and that, you go to the hospital and you sign this form that says, hey, I don't know necessarily what you're going to do to me and what it's going to cost, but in the end, I am signing over that I assume the liability for anything that's not covered. And this is just a crazy world that we live in, that we can go out, have these thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars of services rendered, and then not really know what it's going to cost us until after the service has been performed.
That's correct. Buying health care on time is what you're telling me here. Making installments, 6 months, same as cash. Buy now, but wait, there's more. If you order now, anyhow, you get it. It's a racket.
It really is. Liz, I said it the other day, and I got some ugly looks at a convention I was speaking at. But healthcare is the only legal Ponzi that's really around in the United States today. Because what's happening is they're taking your money, and they're taking my money, and they're just trading dollars over time, and they're adding finance charges. It's like me going to one of these title companies to get my healthcare paid for. Healthcare and health insurance are two very different things. It's like me talking about the price of my house and only talking about the mortgage company. Right? I need to understand what the price price of my house is so I can understand, can I afford it? And if not, where can I go that I can afford it? You mentioned MRIs, a great example. MRIs here where I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area range from $400 to over $6,400. An MRI is an MRI. Right? And
That's
so
right.
why, if I go one place, is it $400, and then one place across the street, $600?
Now, you could have a more comprehensive MRI, but I am comparing apples to apples here because the emergency room visit that we had, it was listed as $4,000. The insurance company says we paid $600, and you only have to pay $50 or whatever. What the point being is, either the thing costs $4,000 or $600. It's not somewhere, it's one or the other. It's not both. And we need truth in pricing. There's no question about it. I'll give you the last word here. Good conversation, though.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say is, and I encourage people to go to our website, GDPadvisors.com. We've done a full summary of the white paper and what's in there, but we also provided some solutions that we think specific to prescription drugs that the government can do, but also what you and I could do as consumers to really start to drive down cost and impact change within the healthcare markets.
Well, there you go. Great points. I guess that's that West Texas straightforward common sense style, because I liked it. Seth. Well done.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
There you have it. Seth Denson, everybody. President, co-founder, GDP Advisors. Look him up and you'll learn more. Thank you so much, Seth.
Thanks, Steve.